We told you earlier that the U.S. government is now considering reviewing AI technology before it's released publicly. And now the Financial Times is reporting that Google, Microsoft, and xAI have agreed to U.S. national security reviews of new AI models. The report says the Center for AI Standards and Innovation, which sits under the Commerce Department, said it signed a deal with the tech groups to conduct pre-development evaluations and targeted research. Our next guest, I imagine, has some views on this and so much more. 8VC founding partner Joe Lonsdale is also Palantir's co-founder. It's always great to see you. We're all trying to figure out what this could look like. Is there ultimately going to be an FDA for AI models? And as a, is that a good thing or a bad thing for somebody who's thinking the way you do?
Listen, the FDA has killed millions of people. Let's be totally clear, right? So that it's literally led to the deaths of millions of people, Andrew, because basically there's all these new therapies, especially now, by the way, with AI, that we could be developing.
It's also hopefully saved some lot. I mean,
yes,
I like
but the trade-off's like probably 100 to 1, right? So there's a very famous story from 60 years ago where they caught some stuff that was killing people in Europe and saved them here, and then they've used that as an excuse to make this massive bureaucracy that makes it cost 10 or 100 times more to do drugs than it should, which means there's tons of these new drugs you could be developing to save lives that we're just not able to do. Like I would be investing billions more to save lives, but I can't. So the equivalent is terrifying to me. The government is bad at these things. The bureaucrats are bad at these things. Now, there's another argument here, which is that you have things like Mythos and OpenAI's new technology that's really, really good at hacking into everything, and you probably don't want like that new technology going to the bad guys right away. So there has to be some sort of trade-off, some sort of framework. We have to be really careful not to make the mistakes the FDA has made.
So what would you do? What do you think that should look like?
There probably should be some national agreement on regulation on new powerful models. It should be as small and as narrow as possible. You should not have the same bureaucracy. You should make sure the government, from the start, has metrics on the speed at which it has to go and the transparency, because you're going to have cronyism. You're going to have the big guys capture it. You're going to slow it down. Pharma loves the FDA against biotech. It makes it too expensive for us to build our own pharma companies. We have to sell to them. This is what the big guys want. Google and Microsoft and OpenAI and the rest of them, they want to create rules to make it so they completely...
Look, they've all been calling for it. I mean, you remember Sam Altman, Dario, others early on said, regulate us. You need to regulate us. Please regulate us. The question is, was that a genuine call for action, or do you think that was we think Washington's never going to do this, so we'll say it and get some nice
no, it's even more.
PR points?
If you are the leader in this space and you have tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, you want there to be really complicated regulation with people you can hire who go in and out of your company who work there because you're going to be able to control it and influence it. America needs to be really careful not to give the big companies this kind of power. Like, listen, if you're on the right, maybe you're afraid of government. If you're on the left, you're afraid of companies. I'm afraid of them working together to screw all of us, because that's what happens in healthcare. That's what happens in every other area.
Do you think that it could get politicized? I mean, the reason I mention that is there's a whole view about this Anthropic situation with the U.S. government and a view that, Trump and others have said, the Anthropic folks like Dario are too woke for him, and whether that's really the rationale for them being, declared a security risk, or whether there's really something else to it.
Of course this stuff's going to get politicized. We saw the government under the Biden administration investigating a bunch of my friends, and you see people who have different biases in different administrations. That's the whole reason our founders want the government to be watched and have as little power as possible. Because, of course, by the way, you know what else it gets captured by? It gets captured by our adversaries. America is dominating right now, right? We are way stronger than Iran. We are beating China on AI. Like, China's best strategy is to capture our own government and to have doomers win on the left and to stop data centers. Iran's best strategy is to capture, the other side, to make us too afraid to stop them from doing bad things. So, I mean, the more power you create, the more it's going to get captured by some bad guy.
Right.
So you're actually saying that the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, is funding AI doomerism here?
We 100% have evidence
of this. How are they doing that?
They're putting hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars into NGOs, which are tied to these groups. And they're paying for people who come. When Bernie Sanders speaks against data centers, 2 of the 4 guys on the panel recently represent Chinese organizations funded by the CCP. These are groups. China's best strategy against America is to get us to be not confident enough to keep building and to beat them. That is 100% their strategy.
I have a separate defense question for you, as a Palantir guy, but also given all of the stuff going on in sort of defense tech right now.
Yeah.
We had conversations for years, I think, about how in a sort of new defense tech universe, and if you could change sort of the rules of the road in the Defense Department in terms of how they procure stuff, that you could actually lower the cost of defense shockingly, right? Like that was the argument being made by the industry for a long time. It feels to me like that argument has shifted. Now we have efforts to raise the defense budget by like double. And you don't hear the defense tech folks, the new folks, saying, no, that's a terrible idea. You hear them saying, great. And so how do you think we should think about that?
I think the incentives of anyone who's building in any area is for there to be more money to go around. And that's obviously a problem, right? Now, if you look at the actual numbers, you have all these companies that are doing things for much, much cheaper, for 10 times, for 100 times cheaper. Chaos's new interceptors, I think, are $5,000 against level 3 drones, right, versus using $1 million missiles. So you are making things much cheaper, much better. The Defense Department has gone in the right direction. We do have global adversaries we need to spend against to get caught up on, especially after this war. So it's somewhat rational. I think longer term that you should not need to spend significantly more money. But, here's the other thing, Andrew. You need the political willpower to cut the parts of the defense that we don't need to terrify our adversaries. Most of our spend is actually a form of cronyism in job programs. It's not the stuff we're doing to terrify our adversaries.
What do we need to do on the manufacturing side, by the way? Because you hear about we don't have enough ammunition, we don't have enough drones. We are so woefully behind that we're actually calling, our friends in Ukraine to help us build this stuff.
Listen, I mean, Saronic just raised another $1.75 billion and a $9.25 billion valuation, a company that we helped, and others helped get started 4 years ago in Austin, Texas. We're building already hundreds of these smaller weaponized vessels and then lots of big ships too. We need to take the best price in America, like Dino's doing, like all these other companies are doing, and we need to scale it up. And the primes are not going to be the ones to do it. It's going to be the new defense tech guys. They are proving it. We need to give them enough. We need to have enough competitions where we're winning and they're getting enough money and they're building the arsenal.